Ladies and gentlemen, my dear viewers, my name is Bins, and I am exhilarated to usher in a new video series for the addictive minimalist factory builder, Shapez. Today, we embark on a new journey throughout the wonders of this game, and strap in because it's going to be a lengthy and intense ride, for I have reached what has long been thought an unobtainable goal, a true make-anything machine within the Shapez Industries mod of this game. Therefore, boys and girls, it is my privilege to present to the world BEASTMAM, which is short for Binz's excessively awesome Shapez Industries true make-anything machine. You know me, I'm a sucker for giving dumb nicknames to my factories, and I'm not even sorry. So, at the time of recording, this is the first, and therefore only, TMAM for Shapez Industries, and the road here has been long and frustrating. There is so much to unwrap that if I want to explain how this factory works, we will be needing a lot of episodes to get it all covered. Over the course of this series, I will do my very best to provide a clear structure so that you can follow along the steps and thought processes that have led up to the completion of this insane factory. Let's zoom out for a bit so you can get an idea of what I mean. This thing is absolutely huge, and without a doubt, it is by far the most complicated thing I have ever built. In order to keep the review of this factory as transparent as I can, this BEASTMAM series will be divided into chapters and sub-chapters and episodes that in turn may consist of multiple parts. There is a lot of ground to cover here and a lot of exciting content to come. So before anything else, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out. Now, with the ridiculous range of stuff to talk about regarding this factory, the question is, where do we begin? Where do we begin unwrapping this machine? Well, it seemed like a good idea to me if I talked about the scope of this challenge first. Why is building a TMAM in Shapez Industries so much harder than building a TMAM in the vanilla Shapez game? That is the question we will be going over today, so therefore, Chapter 1, the challenge. Now, before we embark on our journey, I do want to point out that for you as a viewer, this video series can only make sense if you have quite some prior knowledge about this game. How does it work? Which units are there? How can you combine them? What is an MAM? What is a TMAM? What is the difference between them? And why is creating a TMAM much harder than building a regular MAM? The answers to all of these questions are assumed to be clear to you, because if they are not, then neither this video nor the upcoming ones in this series will make much sense to you. If that's the case, I advise and invite you to watch earlier videos of mine, such as the BEASTMAM series about building a TMAM in vanilla, or the Let's Play Shapez Industries series. I have provided links to all of those playlists in the description. Moreover, I will not shy away from talking about everything I know about this game, and if you are a player yourself, then please do consider that this video series may be chock full of spoilers for you. I issue this warning in advance so that I won't have to after. If you are still in the earlier stages of exploring this game and its mechanics, or specifically the Shapez Industries mod and its mechanics, then watching these videos may very well spoil a number of things for you and thus take away a lot of explorational fun that this game offers. So, with that taken into account, if you are still watching and meanwhile telling me to get on with it already, alright, let's dig in. So, Why is a Shapez Industries TMAM, or SITMAM for short, so much harder than a regular TMAM? Well, it all boils down to the new mechanics that the Shapez Industries mod introduces, really. Not all of its units contribute to making this challenge harder than a vanilla TMAM, but some of them do, and while each of them adds their own layer of complexity, it's not until you figure out the full implications of what those units can do, especially in combination with each other, that the full scope of savagery becomes apparent. If you get creative, you'll discover that Shapez Industries flips the entire franchise around in terms of how you can build shapes. Not just because it has additional pieces, but it allows for shape constructions that in vanilla would be straight out impossible, even if you use the exact same components. So, by going over those new techniques and constructions today, I hope to give you a better idea about the uphill battle that this challenge has been. The first of these things is the combiner in vanilla shapes. As you all know, there are 4 basic shape forms: the circle, the square, the star, and the windmill. But the combiner allows you to fuse these 4 basic shapes into 6 new ones. There we go. So, the circle and the square, they produce a rounded square. The circle and the star produce a pointy circle. The circle and the windmill produce what I like to call a flower, I guess. Then next, the square and the star, they produce a diamond. There we go. A square and a windmill produce what I like to call a Tetris piece, like that one. And finally, a star and a windmill produce a reverse windmill. This means that while you had just the 4 basic shape variations to worry about, there is now a total of 10. The increase in shape variations itself is not that bad. More of a hurdle is the amount. That's because a game like this is very suitable for everything that comes in powers of 2, so 2 itself, and then 4, 8, 16, and so on. So if there had been a total of 8 shape variations, or I guess even 16 instead of 10, then that would have allowed for a more linear approach. 10, however, is a bit of an inconvenient number in this game, so working around that poses a first extra challenge. Now, all in all, the extra shape variations are the least of our worries. The first real obstacle comes in form of the smelter. Smelting is a Shapez Industries exclusive concept that considerably raises the bar. Assuming a piece of 4 quadrants, there are 12 smelt scenarios in total. Here they are. And obviously, a TMAM must be able to produce all of them. And not only that, it must also be capable of analyzing a shape so that it can detect, so that it can determine which of these 12 scenarios applies. Challenge number 3, and this is an even bigger one, the laser cutter. Now, at first, the laser cutter seems like nothing more than a shape cutter variant next to the normal cutter and the quad cutter. And I didn't fully appreciate the potential of the laser cutter until it was pointed out to me. The laser cutter allows for a completely unprecedented manner of stacking shapes, giving way to the possibility to create floating shapes that are utterly impossible in vanilla. For example, consider this shape. It is impossible to create this in vanilla, right? A quadrant cannot float if its only connection on the layer below is the diagonally opposing quadrant. Flat out impossible, right? Well, the laser cutter lifts that constraint, and here's how you do it. You pick one orthogonal piece and then you stack a diagonal piece on top of it, like so. Then you apply the laser cutter, and voila, done. Here is your piece that was previously deemed impossible. And now you can push the boundaries of this stacking technique to create even more shapes that vanilla just can't do. Have a look at this 3-layer shape, for example. In vanilla, inconceivable, but in Shapez Industries, laser cutter, all you need to do is pick an empty corner, in this case the top left corner, provide a scaffolding to that corner on all layers, and cut the scaffolding away. Like so. Have a look at this. So, the existence of the laser cutter dramatically increases the amount of shapes that you can create. And if that weren't enough, let me introduce you to something new, combiner stacking. How about this shape? Can it be created? A vanilla shapes player would go, no, that's absurd, and rightfully so. But the combiner that we previously talked about can do more than just create new shape variations. It's also a stacking tool. For example, look at these two pieces. What instead of stacking them, I combined them. There is no reason why the combiner wouldn't allow for this shape input, and so the shape previously deemed irrealizable is already on the board. And I see I made a mistake here, so let's do that again. There we go. Now, hold on, because we're not quite there yet. What if we applied both the laser cutter and combiner stacking technique? Would we be able to create this shape? Why, yes, we would. And here is how. So first, you are going to create these 3 separate floating pieces by combining a scaffolding piece on a vacant quadrant with the shape on the first layer and the one on the second layer. And then you're going to stack all of that, apply the laser cutter, and then you apply the combiner twice. And that's how we get a shape that was previously impossible. Want to up the crazy even more? Well, why not try to smelt it now that it's stacked? Huh? How about that? And boom, smelted shape with floating layers. Now, unfortunately, smelting does scorch away any color the shape may have previously had, but that can be remedied by the cherry on top of the Shapez Industries cake, the layer painter. So, you can see, whereas building a TMAM in vanilla is tough enough as it is, these new possibilities that Industries throws into the mix raise the bar exponentially. Not only does one need to rethink which shape combinations are possible and which aren't to begin with, but more importantly, what will the order of operations need to be? Where do the modules go? Do you paint first and then stack? Well, that would be unproductive if you still need to smelt afterwards. So, you do smelting first, right? And then painting and then stacking? Well, also no, because sometimes you need to smelt a shape that is already stacked. Okay then, so we stack first and then smelt and then paint. No, times 3, because that would paint all of the quadrants the same color. Even if you use a layer painter, it would paint each layer in the same color, and there are definitely shapes where that's not what we need. And with these contemplations alone, we haven't even considered where to fit a laser cutter module or a combiner module for combiner stacking, right? So, yes, while no more than a handful of TMAMs has been built worldwide for vanilla shapes to begin with, because that's already hard enough, a SITMAM is several orders of magnitude more complex even. And hopefully, with this video, you've gotten a better understanding of why that is. So, how did I solve this conundrum of a TMAM puzzle? Well, as I said in the very beginning, there is a lot to unwrap and a load of videos planned in this series before we've covered everything. So I hope you're excited. If you are a nerd like me, then I have some good news for you. Subscribe to the channel and a lot of braingasms will be your reward. I am confident about that. So I am excited. I hope you feel the same. See you in chapter 2.